Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. First of all, I'd like to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers as we celebrated Father's Day this past weekend. And in honor of that, I have a father and son team from the LaGrange Police Department that we'll be talking with in just a moment. Also, I have on Neil Bromelo, the orchestra director from First Baptist Church, that will be talking about an upcoming event, the Red, White, and Blue. So ladies and gentlemen, you want to make sure you stay tuned for those interviews in just a moment. Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. As we prepare for Father's Day that will be coming up this week, I wanted to bring on a couple of LaGrange's finest that is a father and son team. We have on Corporal Norman Wynn and his son, Lee Wynn. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Well, it's a great pleasure to sit down with you gentlemen. I got to reminisce a little bit. I started out in 1988 in law enforcement down at LaGrange Police Department, and I've seen Lee come up through the LaGrange Police Department attending the team CPA. And Norman, you and your wife Pat, I've known for quite some time now.
So several years.
Several years, that's right. Now, of course, I know your other sons, Chris and Dodd, as well. So we just we're going to have to sit down and have family talks today. How about that?
Okay, that's good. Let's do it.
Well, Norman, I want to just kind of start out with you a little bit. Talk a little bit about how you got started in law enforcement.
Well, you know, as a child growing up, we all have dreams and aspirations, and one of mine was to work in law enforcement. Growing up in Tampa, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office had a very active reserve officer program, and I was involved with our family business. My dad was in the citrus and dairy business, so I was working with him, but I also had the opportunity to have some exposure to law enforcement through a reserve program for approximately 5 years before my wife and I moved back up to LaGrange.
Okay, all right. So out there in the citrus farm, I know my grandmother lived in Florida as well, so I kind of know about that citrus, you know, growing a little bit. I'm going to tell you, it's a great time to go out and just pick stuff off the tree and eat it right there under the tree, right?
Can't get any fresher than that.
Absolutely. Well, so you have law enforcement, that was back some time ago, and then you guys moved back here to LaGrange,
yes.
and then you kind of later on joined with the LaGrange Police Department. Lee, talk a little bit about your experience. And like I said, I've seen you come up through the Explorers, through the Team CPA. When did the law enforcement bug bite you, I guess?
I would almost have to say the Teen CPA that I went through with you, that sparked my interest, got my feet wet. You showed me the right direction. Eventually went on to be an explorer with the Sheriff's Office. Went through the police academy with them. Prior to that, worked with 911 for about almost 2 years. Went to the police academy in '99. Beginning my 13th year as a certified law enforcement officer. So
13 years already?
Yes.
Time goes by, doesn't it?
It does.
Absolutely. So let me say, so we have both you guys that work there at the LaGrange Police Department. I think, and if history serves me correctly with my memory, are you all the first father-son team that you can think of there at the police department?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
There has been since. Captain Steve Cavender was with the department for many, many years, and his son Mark, who is now sergeant with our agency, was also there. They worked in different divisions, but they came along afterwards.
Oh, okay. Now you're talking about different divisions, and then I see both of you gentlemen are in the patrol division, Corporal Wynn and then Patrolman Wynn. Do you all have occasion sometime to work the same shifts, or how is that determined?
Well, I'm assigned to A squad, and Lee is assigned to B squad. They're both day shift squads, but work on opposite days.
Okay.
So there's always a win. There's always a win on the street during the day. You know, of course, unless we're on vacation or something like that. But we do not work on the same squad.
Okay, all right. And I think, you know, that's kind of some of the rules and regulations of the department, correct?
That's right.
That's right. Okay. Lee, talk about what is it like to, I'm going to say, follow in your father's footstep to be in law enforcement?
Oh, it's a great, opportunity to share the same job with your dad, to do the same things, to be able to talk about it. It's a lot of things that happen in our job we can't just vent to anybody and talk about. And, to call Dad up, to go by the house and talk with him, because he understands where I'm coming from, it's very valuable.
Absolutely. And as we talk about and celebrate Father's Day, it is so important that we have that, individual in our lives that we can go to and talk to, because there are a lot of things, me reflecting back on my years of law enforcement, there's some things sometimes that you want to talk about that you may not want to share it with another officer, but with your father there being a father figure, friend, and officer, you just got the combination there. And let me ask you guys, and I'm kind of reminiscing here, so bear with me. What have been some of the situations that you all have gone to that, as a father figure and a family man, that you say, gosh, I wish that we could do more for this situation? Have you ran into situations like that?
I think that happens frequently. Oftentimes you go to a situation where it's a single parent household. The kids have strayed, if you will. There's not any respect for themselves. They don't have respect for their mother or their father, and it just creates dysfunction. And that's one of the things that I enjoy, is trying to spend a little bit of time, spend some extra time with these, especially the children, the youth, juveniles, teenagers who are, in an unruly situation. Just sit down with some quiet time with them while I'm at the residence, and try to explain to them, hopefully before it gets going too far, that there are options, there are alternatives, and there's help out there available to them. And I've offered my my services to families, make myself available 24 hours, 7 days a week. They can call me at home if they need me to come back and talk with the kids or something like that, if there's an immediate situation going on. So yes, there's a father figure lacking in a lot of households, and it's obvious in the type of calls that we go on.
Absolutely. Lee?
Yeah, I would say that more often than none, you go to a call and you've got a child that's acting out or being unruly towards his mom, and you ask, the question is, where's his dad? And unfortunately, more often than none, you get the answer, either we don't know where dad is, or dad's in jail, or dad's in prison. And you sit down and talk with the kid, and come to find out he just doesn't have that male role model. And so, like Dad said, you try to mentor to these kids, and you try to talk to them and let them know, look, you're going to have to be the man of the house. If there is no father figure, you're going to have to step in and be that person for your younger siblings. Because they're going to try to mimic the actions of them, and if it's not good, then you've got a real problem in your hands.
That's right. Now, we talked about the father figure in the home and everything. I want to kind of now get a little personal within your all's home. I know Patsy, your wife, for many years. When the wife hears that their husband wants to go into law enforcement, I'm sure there's always that fear. But not only did she have to hear it from you, Norman, but she also had to hear it from her son, Lee. How was Patsy dealing with both of you gentlemen being in law enforcement?
She's a real trooper. She's always been supportive of whatever we wanted to do. Of course, like you said, we've got two other boys, Dodd and Chris, and Dodd's a pilot, so she has to deal with him flying around. So, but no, she has absolute confidence in our agency and the training that's provided to us. And so I think she's as comfortable as she can be, but while being very supportive.
Very good. When you told her, Lee, that you were thinking about going law enforcement, you being her oldest son, can you remember what she may have said?
I can only remember that there wasn't any negative, talk about it. It was all, if it's something you want to do, we're willing to support you, and whatever you need, we'll provide it. They provided a good, steady, environment at home that was by far the best that I could have ever asked for. So there was no question.
Very good. I like to say, I've known this family for a long time, and I just always felt very welcome. As I stated, I was talking before we came on. I remember when Lee was going through the Team CPA, and I was doing the DARE program, and he wanted to go with me on some programs at the church, and I said, well, Lee, I don't know if we can do that or not. I had to talk with your family. They say they won't mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit. I think some years ago in the LaGrange Daily News, you guys were featured as a father and son team. I think at that time, Lee, you were with the Troup County Sheriff Officers, and Norman, you with the LaGrange Police Officers. Talk about that in relationship to today. what have you seen change from the time that article was featured till today?
Well, I think both of us obviously have gained more experience. Some technology issues have changed as far as equipment that we have access to. And I'll tell you that Chief Deckmar has provided his officers with absolutely the finest equipment that's on the market available for law enforcement use. So it makes our job more efficient, and we are able to handle a lot of things from inside of our vehicles versus over the air as far as dealing with 911. Although 911 does an outstanding job,
That's right.
we're able to take some of the load off of them. And so I would think that probably the experience and the equipment are issues that have changed the most.
Okay, all right. Lee, any changes that you can identify?
Oh, just the same things he talked about. You know, obviously, the police department is keeping up with the technology changing, trying to stay ahead of the game so that we have the best equipment that we can to be able to do everything short of, and we're fixing to be able to print stuff from our cars right now. Short of being able to do that, we can do anything from our patrol cars that you can do in an office setting.
You know, talking about that, I remember, again, I'm reminiscing back to the days when we have to do, the reports, and I see the officers sometimes they're kind of pulled over and they're writing the reports, the computers in the cars. Back in my days, that was not the case. We had, like I said, you had to come to the station, complete the reports, get the supervisor to sign off on them, and then move them on up. Or, pictures, you guys now have cameras in the cars and things of that nature. So I can also, attest that a lot of things have changed in law enforcement. And then too, the LaGrange Police Department is accredited, which speaks volume to the men and women that are in uniform, and also the leadership there at the department as well.
Absolutely, we take a lot of pride in that.
Well, and it shows, it absolutely shows. Well, gentlemen, I want to just thank both of you all, Corporal Wynn and Patrolman Wynn, for coming on the show and kind of helping us to celebrate fathers. And I want to say happy Father's Day to both of you gentlemen.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So again, I want to thank you for coming on the show and just sharing your experiences with us.
Thanks a lot, Alton.
All right.
Appreciate you having us back.
Thank you all.
Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment. Welcome back, City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have on Mr. Neil Brumelo from the Smith Design Group, and also the director of the orchestra at First Baptist Church. Neil, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is the first time that I think I've had an opportunity to sit down with you, Neil. I've heard the name before, and because I know that you work over with Skip over at the Smith Design Group. I just want to know a little bit about you. First of all, there at the Smith Design Group, what is your duties and responsibilities?
I'm the CAD manager, which is short for Computer Aided Drafting Manager. All of our drawings for buildings now are all done by computer, and I'm the one responsible for getting all those drawings out for the buildings we design.
And I've seen a number of those come through our office too there at City Hall. And then of course I work, like I said, with Skip. He's on the Historical Commission, and he comes, as a matter of fact, he's vice chair, and he comes in, and we were very fortunate to have him there on that committee as well. Then I also know that you are the director there at the orchestra at First Baptist Church. So talk to me a little bit about some of your background, because I'm thinking orchestra, that means musically inclined.
Yes, my background, I started out studying architecture at Auburn University, but music had always been my passion. So I changed my majors over and actually have a bachelor's and master's degrees in music education, and spent 17 years teaching high school band and chorus. Then I left teaching to make some money, is the joke, and I still don't have any money. But now I've sort of gone around the world, and I'm doing back into the architecture business, but music is my passion, and I've been directing the orchestra at First Baptist Church now for the last 9 years.
9 years,
Yeah.
okay. So which instruments do you actually play, Neil?
Well, having been a former band director, I play a little bit of several things, but my main instruments are saxophone and piano, and I'm a singer. I used to do a lot of big band singing.
Oh, okay. I'm a solo singer myself.
I know.
Yeah, solo that nobody can hear.
That's right.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you guys are getting ready to have the Red, White, and Blue, which is going to be the first Friday in July.
Well, actually, this year, it's always been the first Friday in July. This year, they've moved it to the last Friday in June. It's June 29th.
Okay, June 29th. Okay, very good. And talk about what is going to be taking place and what has been your involvement with that, Neil.
Well, in 2010, the Downtown Development organization came to me and said, we would like to have a group to play a patriotic concert for the 4th of July on the square for the public, and asked me if I would consider directing such a group. So I've done this in other communities in the past and thought it would be fun to do. So we put out our feelers and called in all our friends and band directors and musicians and people we knew to form a volunteer group and played a concert. And now this is our 3rd year to do this. So we'll be doing a patriotic concert on the square for the public.
Okay, and I think this year, because I think as we were talking, it normally was right before the 4th of July parade, and this year, like I say, is it going to be the first year that will be called the Red, White, and Blue, correct?
Yes, it used to be part of the First Friday program that they did on the square, where the first Friday in every month they would have an event on the square. But since the 4th of July comes before the first Friday in July this year, we decided to move it a week earlier to kick off the 4th of July week for the downtown folks.
All right, very good. And I understand it'll be there on the square. And we're talking about you'll be doing, the concert there on the square as well. Talk about, and I heard you use the term volunteers. So everybody that's in the orchestra is a volunteer.
Everybody's a volunteer, including me. We all volunteer our time to come together and rehearse. We start preparing this particular concert about a month before the concert, and everyone gives their time to come and rehearse and learn the music, and it's my job to pull all these folks together and make something of it in the end. So,
has it been a challenge for you, Neil?
Actually, it's a little bit of a challenge, but it's a lot of fun. I love conducting, and when I get to conduct a group of such caliber of musicians as these, many of the folks are high school band directors or private music teachers, and so it's a lot of fun for me to direct a group that plays this well. So,
okay, are most of the families or individuals are pretty much local here to the area, or do you have some that travel from outside of the area?
Well, we have both. Everyone in the group is connected to LaGrange in some way. They either teach here or work here or live here. But many of them either live here and work out of the county or vice versa. So we have people from the Auburn area, Columbus, Heard County. We even have one family that's on leave from their full-time job and living in Indonesia here playing with us. So,
oh man,
yeah.
Okay, that ought to be exciting, huh? So it sounds like we're going to be in for a treat when they come out on June the 29th. We'll make sure I make that clear instead of the first Friday in July, as I stated, but June 29th, and they'll be down on the square. Now, and I think there'll be other things that will be happening there. I think there's a movie that's scheduled.
Yes, there's a movie for the public at dusk. Much like they've done in the summer on First Fridays, the city will be showing a movie for the public. They're welcome to stay after the concert and see the movie. It's also free of charge. Okay. I'm not sure the name of the movie this year, though. I should know, but it...
Okay, that's okay. I think there's a little flyer. I think I may have seen Dolphin Tale, perhaps?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Okay. All right,
and there's some other events going on. There'll be vendors. Some of the local merchants will be there selling watermelon and ice cream and summer treats of that type. So.
Okay. All right. So basically, this is just going to be a family event. People can bring the lawn chairs out, the blankets, so on and so forth. Just sit down and have a great time?
That's correct. They're encouraging people to bring their picnic tables and chairs and have their picnic dinner on the square. And I believe there's even going to be a picnic table decorating contest.
Oh, okay.
So if they want to decorate their table with a nice patriotic theme, they might win something.
Okay, very good. So keeping in the theme of patriotism and bring out their decorations there, and I guess they'll be judged by a group of individuals going around kind of taking a look at it?
That's correct.
Okay, very good. Now we're talking, of course, we're in that theme of patriotism and stuff, and you being the conductor, I know you know the music that will be played there. Tell us what the public can expect to hear.
Well, we try to mix it up, but it is primarily patriotic music. There'll be things like, of course, America the Beautiful. You can't do a patriotic concert without playing Stars and Stripes Forever. And we try to do some other Americana type music. We'll be doing an American Folk Rhapsody, which is a medley of American folk tunes. And we'll be doing a medley of tunes from West Side Story. We like to do a little Broadway whenever we can, so we like to mix it up. But there'll be marches by Sousa and things of that nature, so typical patriotic type concert.
Okay, very good. So it sounds like they're in for a treat then.
I think so.
Very good. Well, and let me, talking about, I want to go back and talk about the volunteerism, because you said that all the individuals are volunteering their time and effort, and to pull this together in about a month time, it sounds like you said. If someone may not be able to get involved with this one, if someone was interested in maybe next year assisting you, by being a part of the band, how can they get in touch with you, Neil?
Well, we encourage musicians we like to encourage students who are high school and older. So we have ninth grade through adults. If they would like to come and play with us next year, they're welcome to contact me. They can contact me at Smith Design Group, or I can be found in the phone book, and they're welcome to give me a call, or they can contact me through First Baptist Church and find me there. We'd love to encourage any musicians from ninth grade and above who would like to join us to certainly contact me, and not this year probably, but for the next year and in the years to come, we hope.
Absolutely. You know, I've had the opportunity to witness a number of the 4th of July parades. I know it's always a great event. You know, the community comes out and support it. And this year we're very happy. I was just going ahead and mention it. I think Debbie Burdett is going to be the Grand Marshal for the parade this year. Well deserved of her. She does a great job in our community. That's just my little tap on that for Debbie Burdett. Then let me ask you, because you know the weather sometimes, Neil, as you know, we can be 90 degrees and sunny today and cloudy and rainy the next day. In the event that there is rain that day, is there a rain plan?
There is a rain plan for the concert portion of the day. With all this preparation and rehearsal time, we hate to go through all this and not be able to play the concert should it rain. So First Baptist Church has graciously consented to let us move the concert into the sanctuary at First Baptist Church if it should the weather should turn bad. So we don't want people to stay away if the weather turns bad. Come on, and if the weather's bad, just come to the First Baptist Church, which is right there on the corner, and enjoy the concert anyway.
Okay, well, very good. And that is going to be June the 29th. What's the time frame? I don't think we talked about that.
The concert starts at 7.
Okay.
So the patrons are encouraged to come earlier and have their dinner, and if they want, spend time on the square. And the actual concert will begin at 7 so that we can be finished so by the time it turns dark so they can show the movie.
Okay, all right. So the concert itself starts at 7. And I guess the only we haven't mentioned is this is free to the public, correct?
Free to the public. And we are really fortunate that we have all these great musicians who will come together and provide this, because you could hire a group to play a concert of this type and it would cost many thousands of dollars. And so this is a great program, and these are as good musicians as you will find at any symphony orchestra anywhere.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I've had the opportunity to hear some of the musicians. I know that one of our council person, Nick Woodson, he sings in the orchestra, or plays in the orchestra himself, and then Patrick Bowie. I don't want to start naming names, but these are people that I come in contact on a daily basis. Patrick Bowie, I think, plays in the bands and with First Baptist as well.
That's right.
Absolutely. So again, that's going to be June the 29th, is downtown on the square. The concert itself starts at 7 o'clock, and then you have the movie that will start at dusk thereabout. Come on out, and then of course the Sweet Land of Liberty Parade is going to be Wednesday, July the 4th in downtown LaGrange as well, correct? Well, Neil, I want to thank you very much for coming on and sharing this, and hopefully you get some additional musicians that would like to come out and help with the program for next year. But I want to thank you once again for coming on and sharing the information.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for City Week this week. My guests have been from LaGrange Police Department, Corporal Norman Wynn, along with his son, Patrolman Lee Wynn, and they talked about their experience being in law enforcement as we talked about and celebrated the Father's Day that was this past weekend. Also, I had on Neil Bromelo that talked about the Red, White, and Blue event that will be taking place on June the 29th in downtown LaGrange. So we'll make sure you come on out, take in a good movie, and also get a chance to hear some good patriotic music. So ladies and gentlemen, come on out and patronize that event. And as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.